Okay, people are getting notifications. Hello, hello, hello. I know. It's not very bright in here, is it? I got my jammies on. So I'm in my jammies already. So look dignified. I'll wrap my robe around me. So hello everybody. Let's see who comes in this evening. I had to have a little chit chat. And it is Wednesday and I am feeling it. It is a by the end of my shift today, I was done. I was just done. Um, I could feel that sun square Pluto as we are, the moon's in Virgo. And, by the weekend, the moon will be in Libra and then moving towards the partial solar eclipse, which will be at 2 degrees Scorpio. And as we are finishing off the energies in Libra, this is intense and we can feel it on the world front, not only on our personal selves, but I feel, yeah, this is putting a lot of pressure on different relationships and communications with relationships. Pluto will test it. Like Pluto will really test a relationship. And he will give you, okay, you think it's going well, you think everything's going well. Well, Pluto will put in a obstacle that maybe you have not been paying attention to. And with the Libra energy, it's all about balance. It's about getting the relationships, having the good relationships. Thank you everybody for coming on in. I just started just chit chat here and began talking, just began talking. Um, This is it's bringing up challenges and energies in a lot of areas um, and bringing in that balance, and we're kind of feeling it on the world front as well. We're feeling it, to have those checks and balances to what kind of relationships do we have? What kind of relationships do we wanna connect with? And, um, when a company like I think it was Loblaw on their no-name products are not gonna raise the prices on their no-name products, so, to give people a break because of the increase of groceries right now. So that's kinda cool. So we're gonna be seeing a lot more of things where, incentives to get you into the door because, some people may not be going and shopping as much, so they're trying to get incentives. So we're going to be seeing that, and that's all about relationships and wanting to build the relationships and have you go in and you know this is like a big corporation and they want to look good to the world. They want to look good to the people, so they want to build that rapport, and so that's why they're keeping their no name brands or president choice brands at they don't want to raise the prices on those. So it is as the intensity is starting to build day by day by day, not only within our own selves and keeping ourselves upon the straight and narrow, but we're starting to feel that things amplifying and getting a deeper awareness of our own selves. So on an individual manner, it's about looking deeply within our own selves and looking at our own wounds and beginning to heal what we need to heal within our own selves. That's vitally important. Um, and you're feeling it, Tess. I bet you are because you're such a little empath too, girl. You know. So this is getting deeper in the wounds and pains. But I wrote this up on my Facebook, just an FYI. So that's what I'm reading, but it can also make for trigger happy conversations. So, where our wounds and pains are directing the communication. So, cultivating the capacity to pause and count to 10. So, I want to go back to the womb. Yeah, I want to go back and just, it's like I want to go back to the comfort. I want to go back. It's like wanting to go back into the cave. And as I'm saying that, I'm thinking of Venus because Venus is going to be coming into that super conjunction with the sun. And we can't see Venus because she's on the other side of the sun right now. So, and as she pulls ahead or as the sun pulls ahead, she becomes the evening star, right? So wanting to embrace that womb part, as you're saying, Tessa, wanting to you know um go into that darkness. um there is a lot of anger, and there's a lot of rage, there's a lot of healing upon this journey, and we're seeing it, I mean, not only within our own personal lives, but we're witnessing it on the world front. There is so much wounds. It just feels like a bunch of kids out there, and they're picking on each other, and one feels to say, well, I'm more wounded than you are, you've done this to me, and you can't come over here. If you do this, this is what I'm going to do to you. And others are, it's like having that rich bully who's like, well, I don't give a shit what you're going to say, I'm going to do it anyways. And Pluto's coming in with this energy of saying, okay, but there's always consequences to your actions. See, Pluto comes in and says there's consequences, and he holds you to the consequences until you learn from them to rise above, because he is that death and resurrection, right? And this is where you have, when the sun goes into this eclipse, I mean, this is nothing to joke about. I mean, this is Scorpio. Scorpio's the death and resurrection. It is the taxes, it's the insurance, it is the big bank system, right? That's what Scorpio is. It is that those areas that people don't want to talk about. And what are we seeing? We're seeing increases in insurance, we're seeing increases in taxes in many areas. We're seeing a lot of, pressure being put on the banking system. So there's these pressures that are coming in, and of course we feel it on our own personal level. Excuse me, my nose just start, as soon as I got on here, my nose started plugging up. But this is where we have to be aware of our own needs and the feelings, and bringing them into the balance, and also being aware of others. So this is not to throw your feelings upon somebody else because you just think it's a good thing to throw your feelings, because you feel like you know better than the other person, kind of thing. This is totally not the type of energy to start slinging your feelings and thinking you know you're more justified to feel the way that you feel, because just because you do, that could escalate something very easily. And so the escalation can happen on a drop of a dime. So we're dealing with what is unresolved. There's a lot of unresolved energy out there, a lot of unresolved issues, and misrepresentations that are going on, and we really have to continue to check ourselves. Now that Venus that is coming in, that's going to be squaring Pluto, that's going to be a very interesting and very intense. And that's because Venus went over Pluto 3 times when she retrograded this year. And in that retrograde, was really looking at, and she was with Mars too. So looking at what are those resolutions that you want to look at. Now, if you have your natal chart, take a look to see what house Libra is in, and even your Libra, Scorpio, and your Capricorn house. What house are they in? Where do they lie? And then take a moment and say, okay, what kind of relationships am I working on in order for me, so that I can resolve them, in order to release them in the death and resurrection, release them in the fire, release them with the phoenix, so I can build a stronger foundation as we go forward. Because as Pluto is at the very end of Capricorn, that is bringing in a lot of res, you know, res, restrictions are coming in, and how things are going to be built. And this is, all on world points. That 2 degrees of that is on a world point. From 0 to about 2 degrees is a world point. So we're on some world points. Major issues are going to be seen, and the intensity is starting to build, and we're starting to feel a lot more of that intensity all around us. And we got to look at how we can take those steps back, to be, come into the what did I write here? Take and give, assertion, and positively, passivity is highlighted today. So wherever you are, too far, if you're too far on one side of the spectrum, the other side is where your growth edge is at. So you got to look at where you are. If you're swinging too far to one side, you got to look over and say, okay, I have to really start working on this over here. So it's like in one of my courses that I teach, and we have the pillars, right? And there's these different pillars, and each pillar has to be balanced. If you're too spiritual and you're not in the mundane world, then you got to work on your mundane world. If you're too much in the mundane world, then you got to look at your spirituality. If you're, if your relationship with your friends and family are out of whack, that's, but your relationship with coworkers or work is great, then maybe you got to look at what, with the friends and family, or the family part. So those things you got to start looking at in your life, on what you need to really be working on, and to bring that balance into it. And same with your financials. Financials is a big one. And you're going to be feeling a lot to do with your finances over the next coming months. And I think I started mentioning this a few weeks ago, so I'm starting to stress it again. How are you saving? Where is your money at? And this is really going to be a for some a very difficult one, because of how things are, um going back to work on Tuesday. Congratulations, Shar. So this is going to be a very interesting, how we partake in things, where we are. This is where more restrictions with our money is coming down. I was just, where things are going to be going, because the thing is that, yeah, we look at Europe right now and we think that's Europe. That has nothing to do with us. But we also have to think about where the reserves are going. They're not going to Canada or the United States. The reserves are going elsewhere. And I'm talking about the oil and gas and things like that. And the push to become more, um to go onto the electric grid, but yet our grid couldn't afford it. And plus, if your house is totally electric and you live in Canada, your bills are going to be outrageous, like totally outrageous, because there is no there's no support for that, and we get kind of cold here. So there's all of this. So this is where, when it comes to the financials and the money, and how you are, balancing your budget, how you're balancing things for your own self. If you're able to put like $5 aside, $100 aside, $1,000 aside, whenever you can, very important. If you can start buying things like gold and silver coins and that, start doing it. You're going to find that that's going to be a good thing. A good place to start buying silver and stuff like that is the post office, Canadian Post Office. I mean, because the gold and silver there is really good, unless you know somebody who deals with gold and silver and you trust him. So the squeeze is on. It is a tight squeeze. The squeeze is on also for us emotionally, to really, begin to look at where we need to really, to look at our balances within our life, and where we need to balance. So I know I've been extremely, exhausted lately, but besides working and everything else. So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy right now. Um it's funny to look at where I was last year and where I am now. Never ever would I thought I'd be going back to work after being out of work for close to 13 years. So I never thought I'd be going back to a muggle job. And as I'm in the muggle job and as I'm working in it, it definitely has the pros and cons. I mean, the pros are I get, I'm getting a check, right? I'm working full time. So those are the pros. I'm working with really some really nice people. Like so that there's another pro. So um it's the other the one part is that I really don't have the time I used to have. I don't have that time that I had to myself. And, this is where when you don't have it now I'm really missing my time to do everything that I was doing. Um Doing weekly meditations and stuff. The only meditations I do is with myself and then with a couple girlfriends on the weekend. So I do that and maybe on Saturday or Sunday we get together and have a chit chat and a meditation. So that's, my outlet of groups. Now I know why when my guides were saying you can't teach this fall. And I kept on saying, "Well, why can't I teach?" Like I just couldn't figure it out. Now I know why. There's no way I could have been working full time, doing what I'm doing, and come home and have a class. That was honoring, where many people might have been upset with me in doing that because they're, waiting for certain classes, but it's how things are changing and you really have to honor yourself and honor your guides when they're speaking to you because you're being guided. There's a guidance here that's coming in that is having us really do our checks and balance, look at where we need to look at, and make sure that we are staying within our light and staying within our, what we need to align with within our lives, especially as we go forward. Things are going to start getting very nutty. Like it's just with the intensities with what's happening in Europe and with what's happening with Russia and the whole situation there. And it's where we are going to be seeing things that we've never seen before. We're going to be seeing shortages. We're going to be seeing a lot of these things that we've never seen before in our life. You thought that you saw something during COVID. You didn't see anything. That was not I'm like what my guides have been showing and what, when I look at the astrology, that's nothing for what's coming forward. So that's why right now when they say, align yourself with the people that you need to be aligned with, make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's with what you need to cross your T's and dot your I's with, and really check yourself with your emotions as you are going out. Oh well, yeah, the EU couldn't sustain itself, and the one reason the EU the reason why the EU, I mean, when you say Europe, because UK also, um, I mean, the UK, things were starting to fall in 2019. The EU chart is really, it was based on Scorpio, and same with, when they came out with the euro, and it was basically so that they could have more buying power than the United States. That's the main reason why they came together. Now, the United States doesn't like anybody being more powerful than they are. They want to be the powerhouse. They want to be the money bags. They don't, right now, they don't even want to admit that they're in a recession and that's heading to one of the craziest depressions that that I'm going to say Canada and the United States will ever see. So yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, the whole thing. I feel, when it comes to heating and things like that, that's going to be a real crazy thing. Um, United States wants them to be dependent upon them instead of being dependent on Russia, but Russia was giving them a better deal, you know? But, this is where it's like things are things are going to just come to blows there. I mean, things are just getting heated up now. I mean, with certain areas, he just called martial law in some areas in Russia so that he could, um, in the bald in the new areas that Russia that went back to Russia because the Ukraine is coming in hot and heavy. And but Ukraine, Putin is getting the people out so that they don't, um, they're not under fire here. So he has things like that going on. Um, it's yeah, it is scary right now, and a lot of things people aren't seeing a lot of stuff that's going on. They're not seeing the lineups. They're not seeing the riots that are going on. People are not, and the other thing is that people don't want to see it in many ways. People are would rather be oblivious and just carry on. Just let me carry on with my life. Um, and I don't want anything to interfere with what I'm doing, kind of thing. And but that's what got us into that's what gets you into trouble with the lockdowns and the vaccinations and everything. You just want to go and follow the leader. And when you're following the leader, here comes Saturn and Pluto and saying, "You want to follow the leader? Okay, we'll show you where the leader's going to take you. And it's probably going to be in a place that you don't want to go or what you don't want to do, or you're going to do it just because I just want to be back to normal." But then you find that that doesn't bring you back to normal. That just brings you into another place that you never thought you'd be, and that could be due to illness or something else along that line. So there's so many things that are unfolding for all of us at this time that it's a lot of challenging aspects in the terrain right now, but it can be a great, this is a lot of shadow work too for us individually, to start looking at our own shadow work. What do we really need to dig down and start looking at our own emotional well-being, and that's going to help us to be able to deal with people who who have other things going on. So my computer's dying, so I'm going to have to love you and leave you. And just an FYI, if you do need readings, I am doing the readings on the weekend as best as I can and getting people in as best as I can. If you I don't do evening readings, so if anybody wants an evening readings Monday through Friday, I don't do them because either like tonight I was at basketball with my grandson, or there's other things that go on in the evening that have to pertain to my grandson. That's the way it is. Um, so many things. Life is changing. Life's changing, and we'll see how this all unfolds in the coming months, coming weeks, coming days. That's what I'm going to say. So, for those of you who are getting your readings, your monthly readings, your moon readings, you should be getting your reading coming out on Sunday for the 25th. So, just an FYI for you. And as we're heading into November, there's going to be four more readings, and then that's it. I won't be doing mini moon readings as of January 2023. So it's one of those crazy things. I'm going to be strictly be doing readings. That's it for now until something happens, other changes happen, unless guides tell me otherwise. So yeah, I just don't have the time nor the energy. It's a lot. Like when I do people's moon readings, I'm I do a whole thing for each of you guys, and I write it. I have a little thing that I have written out and to do it, and it takes it takes a lot to do it, and to do each one individually, because I want to make sure that you guys get your own personal readings. So, and I don't charge a lot for it. So, one astrologer who I told him what I was doing, and they said, "What I do for you guys and for 15 minutes or for the work I do," he goes, "most astrologers would have charged $300 for that." And I went, "Oh, I only charge 25." So, yeah, so there you go. Anyways, you guys got a good deal with that. So, but this will be, I won't be doing that, and I will not be doing the auction this year either. So, yeah, so it's not just some little thing. There's a lot of back work that um happens before I do your reading. So just an FYI, if anybody ever wonders, that's what I'm doing before. So yeah. So anyways, sending you guys out so much love. Be safe, be kind, be loving, not only to yourself, but to those around you. Stay in your light and stay on your eagle's perch so you can get a better eye view of what is unfolding for all of us as we go forward into this new unfounded world. So, have a blessed one, everybody, and we will talk to you. We'll see. Well, maybe tomorrow. Bye bye.